Okay, boys and girls. We're gonna continue to talk about how to turn one unit in a bigger unit into a smaller unit today, and I'm also going to teach you about a new unit of measurement. So, I want you to think back to the length that we worked on yesterday when we were turning a kilometer into meters. Okay, because 1 kilometer has 1,000 meters in it. So when we did that, we'd have to multiply by 1,000. Well, that was for length. Now, in the metric system, when you are measuring capacity, and capacity is how much liquid something can hold, okay? How much liquid a container or something can hold. That is called capacity. And in the metric system, they use the word liter, okay? Liter is the base. Now, liter is used to usually measure larger amounts of liquid, okay? Think about the 2 liters at the grocery store. That's a metric system, okay? But if you're talking about a small amount of liquid, you're talking about something called a milliliter, okay? Remember that how the millimeters were the tiniest unit in length? Well, in capacity, where you're measuring liquid, milliliter is your smaller unit, okay? So I would use milliliters when I'm measuring the amount of liquid in a medicine dropper or a spoon or a syringe. Okay? So small things, small amounts of liquid, you're going to use milliliters. Big amounts of liquid, you're going to use liters. Okay? Now, I know that 1 liter has 1,000 milliliters inside of it. Okay? So if I know that, then that means that if I want to change a liter into milliliters, I have to multiply by 1,000. So if you look here, it says 4 liters, and they want to know how many milliliters that is. And as you can see, I said 4 liters times 1,000 because there's 1,000 milliliters inside of 1 liter. So 4 liters times 1,000 equals 4,000 milliliters. 4 liters and 4,000 milliliters are equivalent. They're the same amount, but this one's in liters and that one's in milliliters. Okay? 72 liters. I'd say 72 times 1,000 to give myself 72,000 milliliters. Okay? So if I want to change liters to milliliters, I multiply by 1,000. Now, this is what we call a mixed unit. This says 2 liters and 500 milliliters equals how many milliliters? Now, this is a mixed unit because it has both liters and milliliters in one. If you look back here, it only had liters on this side to turn into milliliters. But this one has liters and milliliters that they want you to turn all into milliliters. So to do that, I'm going to tackle my liters first. I know that liters have to be multiplied by 1,000 to get into milliliter. So I would do 2 liters times 1,000 gives me 2,000 milliliters. But I can't just leave out this 500. Okay, I've got to add that to this amount. So it would be 2,000 milliliters plus 500 milliliters from here gives me 2,500 milliliters. So 2 liters and 500 milliliters equals 2,500 milliliters. Now this is a word problem, and I'm going to approach this with cubes. It says, a family drank 1 liter, 210 milliliters of milk at breakfast. If there were 3 liters of milk before breakfast, how much milk is left? Now, in cubes, I start with, C, and C stands for circle important numbers. Now, in the family, they drank 1 liter and 210 milliliters of milk. So 1 liter, 210 milliliters was drank. But Before breakfast, there was 3 liters of milk. So that's also important. The next thing I have to do is underline the question. Well, the question that I am focusing on is how much milk is left. Okay? B means box important words. Okay, words that give you a clue. Now, when I see here that they drank this much, well, drinking means subtracting. You're taking away from an amount. And this is how much milk is left. Okay, that also says subtract. So to me, I'm going to subtract. So E, I'm going to evaluate. I'm going to think about what I need to do. I know that I need to subtract the amount from breakfast and the amount that they drank. Okay, and that's going to give me how much is left. But the problem is that this is in liters and this is in liters and milliliters. So before I can actually answer this question, I need to change all of this into milliliters because that will make it easier for me if it's all the same unit. So to do that, what I do is I take the 3 liters first, which is how much they had at breakfast, and I change that to milliliters. Well, I know that 3 liters is times 1,000 will give me 3,000 milliliters. Okay? And I know I've got to take this 1 liter, 210 milliliters, and I've got to also change that into milliliters. So 1 liter, 210 milliliters. Well, the 1 liter is 1,000, and the 210 milliliters is 210. So I would add those together, and I would get 1,210 milliliters. And this is how much they drank at breakfast. And now I'm ready to subtract. So they had 3,000 milliliters of milk. They drank 1,210 milliliters. So that means they have 1,790 milliliters of milk left over. And that's how you solve that problem. You have to turn everything into milliliters first. Then you can subtract to solve how much was left at breakfast. I hope this helps. If it doesn't, there is also another video linked on your math slides that you can look at.